Well, I never knew that old Kong had a son.
Don't you think we ought to help him?
Well, how?
Skipper, believe it or not, there's a little Kong. What? A little? How little? Oh, just a little one. About 12 feet high.
Good. Well, what happened? What did you do?
Oh, I know it sounds funny, but instead of shooting him, I helped him out of a jam. I felt... well, I felt I owed his family something.
You really feel conscience-stricken about King Kong, don't you? Whatever you do, don't mention little Kong to Hellstrom. He'd have a nervous breakdown.
You frightened him.
Yeah, it's too bad. Was I too rough with him? Poor old boy. Baby Kong. Yeah, some baby. You're not a patch on your old man.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? This is Phil the Kaiju King from my collection room here in Greater Cincinnati. Today, I should say, I'd like to do a overview or kind of a review of a custom sculpt I have in my collection, and that would be for Kiko, aka the Son of Kong from the 1933 film Son of Kong. It's a pretty awesome looking sculpt, and Mark Seng Yang is the one who sculpted it, and I commissioned it from him, and he did a bang up job on this thing. Let's bring Kiko forward right away. I'm back, and here he is, the star of this review, Kiko, the Son of Kong, 1933. He is from that movie, Son of Kong, the same year as the original King Kong film. This was basically a direct sequel to the original King Kong. Came out the same year even. A lot of people feel it was a rushed sequel just to cash in off of the original Kong, which was an epic movie. My favorite movie of all time. But this movie is good. I like it. It has its merits, good merits to it, and tragic end, in my opinion. Poor little Kiko, but it's a good movie. The whole synopsis of the movie basically is, at the beginning, it shows Robert Armstrong, who played Carl Denham in the original King Kong. He's hiding out from everyone, trying to stay away from everyone in the city because everyone's out to get him, and they're out to sue him for all the damages and havoc that King Kong caused in the city, and he's just trying to get away from people and hide from people as much as he can. And it's kind of comical at the beginning because he's really trying to just make his way without having too much trouble come his way after all the heartache he brought on the city of New York with bringing Kong back to civilization. That's kind of a big story and side story of the film, in my opinion, his whole ordeal of trying to deal with the repercussions of what happened with Kong. So he's basically stuck in his apartment and trying to avoid people as much as possible, and there's people there trying to come and serve him summons and for lawsuits, people suing him for what Kong did, and it's just pretty funny. He manages to get out of that building, and he hooks back up with the Captain Englehorn, the captain from the original movie of the ship, and to get away from all the havoc and craziness in the city it's causing him all kinds of ill will. He decides to venture off with the captain again on just to get away. To me, he's just trying to get away from all of it, that all the havoc and craziness of the repercussions of Kong and his rampage throughout the city. And then they take port on an island somewhere in the South Pacific area, and they stay there for a few days, and they meet a young lady who is part of a show with her father, and they like a little side circus show type deal where they have some little monkeys and they play instruments and stuff, and she just does this with her father to make a living, and Carl Denham befriends her a bit and gets to know her, and then along the way this crooked captain of he's just the bad guy of the film. In my opinion, he's the antagonist. He ends up killing her father. They're drinking together and getting drunk, and he ends up accidentally killing him and setting their whole thing on fire, their tent and everything, and it all burns to the ground. It's just a mess. And so she has nothing left. Her father's gone. All their possessions are gone from the fire, so she ventures out with talks Carl Denham into letting her go with them on the ship. And that Weasley captain dude that killed her father and destroyed everything they had, he ends up on that ship too. He's really a Weasley type guy, really sinister type guy. He's not a very good character. To me, he is the whole antagonist of the movie. And then they end up going back to, they hear that there is a treasure on Skull Island, a hidden treasure. So they go there in hopes of trying to find the treasure and becoming rich. So they go back to Skull Island. Then next thing you know, they discover Baby Kong, and it's just pretty awesome. And his temperament is totally different from the original Kong, but he's still growing, so he's more friendly to the humans, and he takes a liking to the girl and even to Carl Denham. And Denham in the movie is trying to explain to him that I'm the reason your dad's gone, and I took him away, and he ended up losing his life and all that, and he tells him all that, and Baby Kong defends him 2 times at least in the film from a big giant bear, and then like a dinosaur type lizard at the end, and toward the end they do find a treasure, but then there's a big earthquake that comes on the island and it's destroying the island, and they manage to get on their raft boat and pedal out, and then Denham and Kiko, Baby Kong, are stuck on the island still, and it's sinking. The island's sinking into the ocean, and they're climbing like up a precipice, a mountain, and Baby Kong's lifting him all along, and it's sinking into the ocean. And then Baby Kong, they get toward the top, and his foot gets stuck, lodged in the mountain, in between 2 big pieces of the mountain, like collapses on his foot, and he can't move. And still sinking, and they're going in the water, and he lifts up Carl Denham and holds him like this, and all it is his hand out of the water at the end, and the boat comes and gets him, and then Baby Kong's hand goes into the ocean, so he basically dies, saving Carl Denham, who is the man who ended up stealing his dad and taking him to New York, and him getting killed. So it was really tragic, kind of, the ending. Poor little Kiko, he didn't deserve all that, because he was really kind to the humans in the movie. He saved them at least 2 times from imminent danger. So, but it's a cute little movie. It has its merits, and I enjoyed it. And I have thought of ultimately a sculpt from there would be Kiko, of course, the star of the film, and it's a pretty nicely done figure. We'll talk about this figure now. Of course, he's got the grayish fur with some black in there, but mostly gray tones, some lighter and darker gray tones on his fur. But his toenails, or you can see on his toenails, are nicely done by Mark, sculpted in there. His feet are a darker gray. His skin parts of his feet are a darker gray. Same with his hands. They're a darker gray. And his skin chest is the darker gray, but his fingernails are also sculpted nicely on his hands. But like I said, the fur is really well done. Nice thick legs, front and back. Going to be a stout kaiju like his father was. Fortunately, he doesn't make it through the movie, which is a shame. But he's really nicely done. Nice details in the fur. Sculpting by Mark. Mark does really good sculpting of Kong's fur. All of his, my Kong sculpts I got back here, all of them, he does a really good job with sculpting of fur. But he's got really nice fur sculpting all over his legs, his arms, his back, his head. But his skin exposed parts, which are his chest, his hands, his feet, his face, they're all darker gray, which is like in the film. Actually, in the film, I took a picture off the internet of Kiko, and I sent it to Mark, and I said, here, this is what I'd like it to be. So I sent him the picture off of Google of Kiko, and then here is what I got. And as you can see by that picture and my sculpt, it's really pretty much dead on. He did a really good job of depicting the picture that I sent to him, so he did a really fantastic job on this. But the chest is, of course, no hair, so it's the darker gray color like in the film. Same with his face and head and everything. His face is dead on the movie. In the picture I've sent him, it's pretty much the face is dead on there of the puppet in the film. But he's got really wide nostrils, a smiley face. He's got a smile on his face, seems like all the time in the movie. Nice wrinkling on the top of his lip, between his nose and his lip, which was prominent on Kiko. Nice eyebrow ridge, little dome on his head, just like in the film. I mean, Mark really did do a nice job with this thing versus the picture I sent him that I Googled when I was looking for an image to go off of it. He really did a good job. But all the face is that nice darker gray, just like in the movie. His eyes are white with a black pupil, pretty much looking straight on. Got nicely sculpted ears as well on his head on both sides, really nicely done. But he's got the coloring down just perfect, I think. I mean, considering the movie was black and white, all this coloring on him really lends to the black and white of the film too, by the way, in my opinion. But he did a really nice job. This thing is roughly 25-30 centimeter in scale, about 10-11 inches tall, I'd say. But it goes rather well with some of my Kongs I'll comparison him with in a bit here. And I'll do some X Plus comparisons as well. But it's a really nicely done piece. I got it early last year, I think. I've had it over a year. I've had it for a while, so early 2018, I think, is when I managed to get this sculpt. But he is a really magnificently done piece. Of course, it's made out of epoxy clay. All my sculpts from Mark are made out of epoxy clay, and they have armature he builds underneath, and then he sculpts on the outer part with the clay. So it's kind of, in a way, it's similar to the Kongs, the 33 Kongs. They were armatures with fur built around them and rabbit fur and all that, and so it's kind of a cool concept. In a way, it's kind of similar to the way it's built, so except for it's clay on the outside of the sculpts. But this is a really nicely done piece, and he did a really good job on it. I'll move on to some size comparisons right now with some X Plus figures and then some customs as well. We'll do that right now. Alright everybody, here is my X Plus Godzilla 1954, the Yuji Sakai. It's a 30 centimeter, but those are smaller 30 centimeters, the Sakai line. So, but as you can see, Kiko is a half an inch shorter than him, maybe, if that. Not really too much terribly shorter than the Sakai Godzilla 54. So that should give some decent scaling to him. But they look pretty cool together. Of course, Kiko was a baby still. He was still in juvenile, so he ain't as big as the normal Kong was in the film, and you'll see that on my other comparisons. All right, let's do another size comparison right away. Okay, I have the newly released X Plus Godzilla 1964 B suit standard edition. This is 25 centimeter figure with my Kiko Son of Kong sculpt. You can see Kiko is actually taller than this Godzilla figure by a smudge, probably almost an inch actually, probably close to an inch taller. So he does have a little bit of girth and size to him. He's really nicely done. So he's if I was putting him in a scaling of, he would be closer in the 30 centimeter scale than the 25s, I would say. All right, let's do another quick size comparison right way. Here we go. Got to do some Kong now with the Son of Kong, of course. The X Plus Star Ace 30 centimeter Kong Skull Island 2017. A lot of people have this guy, I think, so I'm sure it'll give a good size comparison with Kiko there. But he is much closer to a 30 centimeter scale type figure, in my opinion, than a 25. The new Kong and one of the originals, Kong and Son, pretty awesome. All right, let's move on to another size comparison right away. Okay, here I have my X Plus, or not X Plus, pardon me, my custom Kong Rampage Ravine Kong that went with the log scene back here on the top of my shelf on the back. This is that Kong, and he's hunched over. So if he was standing up, I think they scale good, but if he's standing no more upright, I think that it's perfect scaling with this size Kong and Kiko there. He's like twice the size, which is what he should be. The original Kong should be about twice Kiko's size, so this looks really good in my opinion as far as scaling for Kiko. When I think I had this before this, and I told Mark to kind of try to scale him in with him. So I think he did a good job with that, because with him hunching, because he's doing the log battle, if he's more upright, I think the scaling is right on. All right, I'll have one final quick size comparison right now. All right, my final size comparison is my custom Kong, Sacrifice Kong. This is the Kong that went with my Sacrifice of Andero set. It has the altar with Andero, and then it also had 3 sets of custom trees that when you put them here in front of Kong, it made it look like he was pulling back the trees like in the film to look at her. I have an earlier video on my channel that looked at this thing, so you can check that out if you want. But this Kong and Kiko look really good together. I think the scaling's perfect, and this Kong was about the same size as the Rampage Ravine Kong, maybe just a tad smaller, but pretty close to the same size. And I think these two look really good together. Scaling's about perfect on this, I would say, as far as just to see them together like this. Looks really good. All right, I'll move on to some final thoughts. We'll do that right now. All right, everybody, I'm back. This is apropos the Son of Kong and the Son of Godzilla together. Thought I'd bring Mina up for the close. But I did pictures with these two before. They're best buds in my collection. I love Mina. I can't help it. I do love Mina. Mina is a guilty pleasure to me. I know people hate him, but I think he's pretty cool. It was a lighthearted, fun part of Showa. Mina was, so nothing wrong with that. They were trying to appeal to kids, and I understand it, so I'm fine with it. But as far as the sculpt of this Kiko, it's really nicely done. I'm really happy with it. Like I said, the picture I sent to Mark, the final product is here. The picture I sent to him, I've put them in this video together, and as you can tell, it's just really, really good, really nicely done. He really captured the essence of what I wanted in the sculpt. Can't complain on it at all. But I would highly recommend. This is, I don't even know if there's ever been a Kiko figure ever made. I'd say this is the only one that I know of, so, and that's why I wanted it, because I knew I wanted a sculpt from that film. And I probably am going to get one more sculpt at least from that film. I've got a picture in my phone, so eventually when I commission it for Mark, it's a combination sculpt, so I'll probably commission it down the road. But I've talked to him in the past about it, because I would like to have another sculpt from that film, and I already know what it is, so it'll be pretty cool to have that. All right, I will bring my camera closer for a close-up of this little fella. I want to thank everybody for their time and consideration. This is Phil, the Kaiju King, from my collection room in Greater Cincinnati. I'm wishing you all a very wonderful day, and come back again and support my channel. I'd appreciate it. And you all have a very blessed day.